So I'm sitting here, and I've delayed it long enough. I've delayed it long enough. Kermit the Frog. I'm not putting that on YouTube, or maybe I will. I've delayed it long enough. I was supposed to watch all of the Christopher Reeve Superman movies because of a wonderful suggestion by a buddy of mine to do them in the lead up. But I got really engrossed into Lois and Clark, a very strange but very fascinating Superman show, and then I was going to do it yesterday, but everything went so south, so I turned to my 45 seconds of whatever happened to the Man of Tomorrow into a 3-minute JPEG video. Shame on me for being so lazy, but so I watched the first movie. I watched Superman the movie. Slight background, 1978, they decide we're going to make Superman the movie, but we're going to film Superman 1 and Superman 2 back to back, because they're like, you know what? Guaranteed W. It's going to be a great movie. They're going to want the sequel. And they did. So Superman 1 and 2 were filmed back to back, essentially. And you can tell that you're supposed to watch these one after the other, kind of like Back to the Future 2 to 3 style. It's a very long opening. I mean, I guess to be fair, in 1978 they wouldn't have had this beaten into their heads as much as present day, but you got the whole origin. You got Marlon Brando banishing General Zod into the Phantom Zone to come back in Superman 2 to fight Clark and what have you. You've got Marlon Brando's Jor-El going before the High Council of Krypton to be like, hey, you know what? We're all gonna die. You got Marlon Brando. He's really, really taking centerfold. They don't even do much with Laura Vaughn, Superman's mother. Marlon Brando just hanging out, doing most of the monologuing. He does the whole, we're gonna put Clark in the ship, he's gonna go to Earth, the sun's gonna be great, it's gonna be super epic. So my notes here, I got a little distracted at times because it's a good movie. I was engrossed, don't get me wrong. But it was, number one billing was just very long opening. I was like, wow. Number 2 is Marlon Brando is just reading stuff off frame. Most shots of Marlon Brando are just him looking off or him looking down, but not off in a way where you know he's talking to somebody, off in a way where he's like, what do you got going on over there? When he's talking to baby Clark, he's just looking down at his script. Marlon Brando notoriously didn't care. He took a big chunk of money and he decided, you know what? The best way I'm gonna deliver this, you're gonna have to watch me read my lines in the moment. I was really engrossed in the fact that this was very long. It's not an attention span thing either. They spent, because I watched this on Max, so you have to do the whole, they introduce you to classic movies as if you're watching this on the Classic Movies channel. And then you go into the whole origin, every little beat. And then you go to young Superman. It's a young Clark. And whoever's playing young Clark has all of his voice lines cut and is ADR'd over by Christopher Reeves. There's a very solid Pa Kent in the film. I think the Pa Kent casting was great. Whoever that fella was, I should have looked up castings. But, I don't know. I just didn't. They do a lot with Pa Kent in terms of, setting up Clark for this big motivation. And then they kill him. I forget that they just slap a heart attack on Pa Kent and call it a day. Doesn't make it out of the first 10 minutes he's ever there. Oh yeah, I even wrote for background, you're expected to watch the second movie because this movie on Max at least spends a very, very good amount of time playing setup. And then we finally get into the nitty-gritty. Christopher Reeves here. I like his Clark a lot. I can understand why he's the gold standard. Christopher Reeves' Clark is very distinct from his Superman. Reeves plays Clark as this bumbling, caring man, gee, Lois, and all this kind of deal, to really differentiate from his Superman, which is really stand up straight big man, put on the muscle himself, which was awesome. His portrayal as a distinction as two different characters. You might hear me hitting my necklace, dang it. His distinction as two different characters, pretty solid. Where was I? I got interrupted. You won't be able to tell, hopefully. Well, now that I've told you, you'll be able to tell. But let's see what else we got here. I did like the armed robbery scene, the bullet catch. I found pretty solid. It's a little goofy in execution, but there's just charm to it. I can't help it. You can't help it. It's just charming. A lot of this movie I can basically describe as charming. Let's see, what else? Gene Hackman's 70s Lex Luthor. Very 70s. He's just got a big pool. He's got dopey, silly sidekicks. Miss Tessmacher and Otis. He's good. He's very good. He's exactly what you would think Lex Luthor would be like in this era of Superman. Let's see. Superman is very distinct from Clark Kent. I just talked about that. What else I got for my notes? Oh yeah. Whole point, real estate scam. Lex Luthor's just running a big old real estate scam. I guess. Superman and Lois flirting. They have very solid chemistry in this movie. And by this point, I was getting distracted because I was like, this is a great movie, all things considered. Margot Kidder and Christopher Reeve are real good together. I really love their dynamic. But then, after the iconic interview scene, Superman scoops Lois up into his arms and they fly. They go for a fly. And there's this, and I don't know, maybe this is a bad take on my part, but there's this Margot Kidder, Lois Lane scene during the flight where she just starts to talk about him reading her mind. I called it the read my mind monologue. I didn't like it per se. It's framed, it's supposed to come across as this comic book monologue, like, you know, their internal narration in their head that you can just read scoped across the screen, and it just didn't hit as well as I'd hoped it would. And then Clark spends a lot of the movie just considering if he should reveal himself as Superman. There's a scene I really liked where Lex decides to just go into the back of the van that him, Miss Tessmacher, and Otis are in, beat up Otis, because it's funny. The Perry White in this is pretty good. My favorite bit of this movie, personally, so Perry's given Clark a what for about what he should do and his motivation, and I called it the Luthor high frequency monologue. So there's this high pitched screeching, and Lex Luthor delivers a very good monologue about how he needs to get Superman's attention, and what better way to do it than to put everybody in harm's way. The rest of the movie pans out, and by the end, Superman is reversing time. That's a little strange. I mean, it's all Superman, so it's all kind of strange one way or another, but Superman flying the Earth backwards to reverse time was a little weird, even for Superman standards. And there's a Jor-El cloud. A wink and a smile, and the movie's over by the end. Superman saves the day. Is it dated? In a way, in a manner of speaking, in considering how the movie carries itself, I guess you could say it's dated in that manner. It's a little strange, I guess. Like, not strange in a bad way, but like, this is an attempt to frame it like a comic book, if you will, and sometimes it works, sometimes it's strange, but not bad. Just not what... When you've watched a bunch of Supermen lately, this is just a terribly charming Superman compared to a lot of the more darker ones. And I thought it was fun.